You know what they say about the human eye? Is that it's equivalent to a 50mm on a full-frame camera. Probably that's why most people get this as their first prime lens. Also, it was the main choice of Henri Cartier-Bresson, the pioneer of street photography, which also added to this focal lens popularity. That's why in 2016, when Samyang Optics released their first AF lens, it only makes sense for them to release a 50mm. Am I right? It was actually my first prime lens, and I remember using it. Its autofocus has its issues. It was hunting a little bit, which later on they improved with a new firmware. But anyway, it was too big and too heavy for a Nifty 50, and Samyang listened to its users, so 5 years later, they released their newest 50mm Mark II right here. Although Samyang did send us this lens, they gave us a full freedom in reviewing it, so what you will see in this video is our 100% honest, free-range and gluten-free opinion. At first glance, we can already see that it's much more compact compared to the first one, and they also added a nice texture on the focus ring, which I love so much. And like all the other Samyang lenses lately, they added their signature custom switch, which allows you to change the focus ring to an aperture ring, and right here you can see the focus hold button. As you can see, there's already a lot of improvement on the outside, so I can't wait to use this on an actual photo shoot. So let's go out and shoot some portraits. We are outside the Open Eye Gallery here in Liverpool Central to test out some portraits with my friends Zhiyun. This place is nice because it has reflective surface, as you can see. We will use that as an element. So let's start and shoot. Yes. Oh my God. It's so nice. I love it. Can you look here? Oh, the bokeh is so amazing and creamy. Samyang did a special element for this lens that makes the bokeh so nice and amazing, and it's beautiful. Just look at that. Comparing to Samyang's first 50mm, this is more compact, and actually, as of now, this is the lightest and smallest Nifty 50 F1.4 for Sony. So that's pretty awesome, right? Now, as I'm doing this backlit photograph, I can see that the ghosting and flaring is well controlled, and this lens totally has its Samyang characteristic. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. Something I love about it, the skin tone is perfect, and its 3D rendition is also very good. It's like, how do you call it? Samyang-licious. Shooting portraits with this lens is so much fun. The AF is fast and the bokeh is so beautiful, and I can definitely say that it is designed for portrait photography but not limited to, because it is a versatile lens. That's why most people buy the first prime lens to be a 50mm. That not only you can use it for portrait, you can also use it for landscape photography, and for that we'll be heading to Wales to shoot some landscapes. So let's go.
All right, so we are here in the beautiful Snowdon near the Welsh mountains to test the lens for landscape photographs. We already know for portrait photography it has all the hippie features like bokeh, but let's see how does it cope with a more technical shoot, which is like mountains where you need the fine details, corner to corner sharpness. So let's go, let's find out. One thing in the UK that you cannot predict is the weather, and especially Wales is known for its rainy weather. And to be honest, those clouds up there are a little bit of worry for me, but not for this lens, because Samyang made this lens waterproof, so if it starts a little drizzle or rain, I can still carry on and shoot with this lens. Checking back the images just confirms what I already found out at home on my test board, that the images at f8 are incredibly sharp from corner to corner. I'm really happy about it, so the landscape test passed. Also I found that in the center f1.4 is very slightly soft, but it gets better at f2, f2.8, and from f4 it's really good all the way to f11 until the diffraction starts to kick in. The corners are a bit different. At f1.4 slightly soft, nothing major, and you're using f1.4 when you're doing portraits, so you don't really care about the corner sharpness. At f4 already it's incredibly good, and all the way to f8 is just sharp. And again, f11, f16 diffraction kicks in, so it starts softening up, but that's not the lens fault, it's just how physics works. Another strength for the 50mm is its versatility, because in situations where it's a bit too narrow, you can use it for panoramas, but for that you need a sturdy tripod and you need to weight it down just to make sure that it won't budge. Hang on there, little buddy. Daddy's gonna do a 9-shot HDR.
I want to go home.
So there's one more thing that I want to test, and that's the autofocus performance, and Mr. Sonic is going to help us with it. He's going to run towards me. This is an A7RIIIa with the latest firmware, and it's on high-speed shooting and lock-on tracking I'm going to use on him. Are you ready, boy? Let's go. And run! Run! Run, Sonic. That was perfect. So apart from photographers, this lens is also appealing for videographers, because first of all, it's very lightweight, so easy to put on even a smaller gimbal. We tried it with the Zhiyun V-Bill S and it just handled beautifully. So this lens is very gimbalable. And on top of that, when it comes to focus breathing, this lens is very well controlled. And to show you, Alyssa's going to help me out, and I'm going to show you that I learned one of the hardest lyrics from the 90s, Venga Boys, Up and Down. Well, we already start with up and down, and up and down, and up. And keep an eye on those two fence posts on the side, down. That you can see that they barely moving, and they are on the side of the frame, so up. I think this is pretty impressive. So yeah, if you're a videographer, this lens is well recommended. For this lens, Samyang added a special element for the bokeh, which makes it nice and smooth. But they didn't stop there. They also added special elements to control the chromatic aberrations, and they did quite a good job, because only on the very contrasty areas there's a bit of fringing, easy to correct. But on the background and the foreground, there's literally no chromatic aberrations found. But I think it comes with a small price, because when it comes to specialist photography like astrophotography, this lens is a hard pass, because unfortunately it has coma and astigmatism. And for the infrared shooters, bad news. This lens has a very bad hotspot unless you have like this total overcast weather. Not again. Because of the backpack?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so we're ready to go home.
Yes, it's freezing.
Yeah, and very windy. And now the light is gone, that little we had, because it was unfortunately very overcast day, not perfect for landscape photographs. But I think we got a few good pictures, don't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
And it's really enjoyable to be here. It's actually our first time to be here. How do you
Yeah.
call this place?
Lin, whatever. I'll be honest, I forgot the name. I couldn't even pronounce it if I would remember, so I just, yeah.
Google it. I don't think I can spell it, but we'll put it somewhere.
All right, so let's go home. Let's have a hot cup of tea.
Yeah.
And just see the pictures.
Yeah, and have our final conclusion.
Finally back home. It's been a very, very long day. I bet you're tired, aren't you?
Yeah, I can barely open my eyes right now. So I'm gonna go straight to the point. I love this lens.
Yeah, me
First
too.
of all, it's light and compact and it's perfect for portrait photography. Its bokeh is so nice and creamy, and it kind of reminds me of Samyang 85mm f1.4. Also, the autofocus is very reliable apart from when I'm shooting to a heavily backlit situation, and also when I'm checking back the pictures, it shows a lot of details on my model's face, so the sharpness is very nice.
Yeah, that's how I found it as well. That on the landscape shots, it was like F4, F8, mind blowing.
So if you're looking for a Nifty 50 for your Sony, get this one. This is the lens.
This is the lens. And on top of that, it only comes at £599 British pounds, which is a very competitive price because we have the Sigma 50mm 1.4, the Sony ZV1 50mm 1.4 are the main competitions, and both of them suffering from focus breathing. So yeah, for videographers, the Samyang is already the better choice. And Sigma, slightly more expensive, but optically the Samyang's better. And Sony ZV, the planar 50mm, that's 3 times the price. So tiny bit of corner sharpness improvement. For me, that's a no. And not to mention that this one is lighter and smaller than both of those lenses. So yeah, whatever you throw at this lens, street, portrait, landscape, it will handle. Come on, say it, you know. Share, subscribe, like, you know, that part. Come on.